Northeast Tonight, brought to you by Oil India Limited, conquering newer horizons.
Hello and welcome to Notice Tonight, the show that decodes the region. Once again, the question of women's safety in India has come under the scanner following the brutal rape and murder of a 26-year-old veterinary doctor in Hyderabad. At least 4 men raped the young doctor and then set her ablaze slightly away from the highway she used to commute to work every day. The brutality of the crime brought back memories of the 2012 murder of a Delhi paramedic that is popularly called the Nirbhaya case. With this, the focus is also back on the role of the government and the police. Did the police first refuse to act or delayed action on a distress call from the victim's sister? These are matters of investigation, but the mindset towards women seems to have not changed much ever since the nationwide outrage after Nirbhaya. A leading American university in a recent report ranked India 133 out of 167 countries in its Women, Peace and Security Index. Both in education and employment, the report talks of a dip in figures for women in India. A NETA app poll says 40% Indian women feel unsafe in their surroundings. Crime against women constitute murder, rape, dowry debt, suicide abatement, acid attack, cruelty against women and kidnapping. The 2017 report of the National Crime Records Bureau says cruelty by husband or his relatives accounts for 27.9% of the crimes against women. Assault on women with intent to outrage her modesty comprised 21.7%, followed by kidnapping and abduction of women with 20.5%, and rape with 7% of reported cases. Significantly, the 2017 NCRB report says rape by known persons still constitutes a large percentage of all the cases reported. Out of 32,559 reported cases, in 93.1% of the cases, the accused were known to the victims. Is the Northeast any better? Assam, Manipur and Arunachal Pradesh are states in the region that are under the scanner over the question of women's safety. To discuss the grave issue, I am joined from Shillong by Ms. Meena Kharkonger, chairperson of the Meghalaya State Commission for Protection of Child Rights. And also in Shillong, I have Ms. Marbiang Kongwir, President of the Khasi Students Union's New Delhi unit, currently in Shillong. In our studios in Guwahati, I have former Assam Special Director General of Police, Mr. Pallab Bhattacharjee, Dr. Sangeeta Datta, a psychiatrist, Syed Burhanur Rahman, an advocate, and Ms. Maini Mohanto, author and commentator. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Notice Tonight. I'll go straight to you, Mr. Pallab Bhattacharjee. Now, you have read and heard about this Hyderabad rape. There are some reports that says that when the sister of the victim called the police said, "Oh, bhagya hoga." So this, I don't know whether it's true or not, but that's beside the point. Question I'm asking you, do you agree that the police mindset or the police needs to be sensitized much more towards issues relating to women or women's safety?
This is very important, what I personally feel. Police should be sensitized from time to time, because police usually they deal with such situations in a regular fashion, and that is why they get desensitized in course of time. So regular sensitization of police by experts actually is the need of the hour presently, and this is very important actually.
All right, police sensitization needed. That is the key. Let us have everybody on the screen. Let us have everybody on the screen. As Burhanur Rahman, you are a lawyer. Question is, delayed justice. We talked about police sensitization. We asked the question whether police sensitization is the key. But I'm asking the question as a lawyer. Delayed justice. Justice delayed is justice denied. Is this what is happening in this country?
Yeah, in one sense you are right, but at the same time we have a large number of various provisions of law. If that is followed in correct manner and correct perspective, then in my opinion, then the picture would have been different. For example, in this case that you were referring to, that recent Hyderabad case, if the police personnel had followed the guideline which were given in the Lalita Kumari case by the Honorable Supreme Court,
right,
which says that immediately you have to file the FIR if the cognizable offences have taken somewhere, then probably lots of things would have been different, because immediate action for various reasons, somehow police gives some other ifs and buts are also involved. They
right,
said that immediately we will not take cognizance of the issues. That is something which is problematic in the long run.
Problematic whether the FIR was lodged quickly or not, whether the police took cognizance. Sometimes suo moto FIRs can also be lost, but that never really happens. That is the key point. I'll come back to my studio, but Meera Kharkongor in Shillong. Meena Kharkongor, sorry. Miss Meena, you know, you are dealing with child rights, but here we are talking about women's safety. The question is, you know, what is your reading? How does the Law Enforcement Agencies Act, is it a question of poor enforcement of existing laws? Do you think this is allowing people to continue with such kind of crimes again and again and again?
Wasbir, first of all, I would like to condemn the Hyderabad issue which had happened with the lady concerned, and you know, it should be condemned nationwide. But when you see all these issues, you know, we cannot just blame one person, one entity, because we are all working collectively towards it. Be it the law enforcement, be it the judiciary, be it the lawyers, the people, the community at large, we are all responsible, and we should take the blame for what is happening in our society now.
Tell me, how is this 26-year-old to be blamed? How can we blame that 26-year-old for driving at night? Is he responsible for that? The 26-year-old victim?
No. Yeah, no. I'm not talking about the victim, Wasbir. I'm talking about the law enforcement agencies. I'm talking about the community which keeps silent over such issues. You know, the policy makers, they come out only during election time. And after that, what happens to women issues, say children's issues? No one rakes these issues up, you know. They see in the newspaper, and the next day it just dies down, you know. So, and if you see in the Northeast, since I am working with the child rights for the last 6 years, I have seen in my experience, Mr. Wasbir, that, you know, in the Northeast, we are having more issues with children's, you know.
Right.
When you talk about sexual assault, we have more cases of sexual assault happening to children's, Wasbir.
Right.
We don't hear so much of rape with women, but with children, it is on the rise.
This is equally condemnable. We'll come back to you. Before I come back to my studios, Marbiang Kongwir, you are a student. You are the president of the Khasi Students Union's New Delhi unit. You know, as a young woman, Marbiang, are you a worried person today, staying in the national capital, in a metropolitan city, where, you know, the level of literacy is supposed to be high? I mean, what do you think? This kind of incidents happening in 21st century India, a young doctor, you know, cannot even return safely from work. What does this indicate? How do you feel? What thoughts cross your mind today?
Yes, it's a very sad state of affair. As it is, being from the Northeast and living in the capital region, we are already, stigmatized in so many ways. And talking about safety, especially in the capital region, we, even as students, we do, even till now, we do feel unsafe even in the capital region to walk around or to go out late at night. So till now, I feel like, especially everywhere in the country, especially in the capital region, they should make the streets safer for women. Like, they should have
They should.
More transportation.
They should.
Like women.
Yes, Marbiang, they should, but it is not happening. I'll come back to you. my question will be
It is not happening.
Why is it not happening? I'll come back to you. Dr. Sangeeta Datta, what's going on? Is it a problem of the mindset? Because there was a nationwide uproar, Sangeeta, after the Nirbhaya case, which is just 7 years old. And everybody seems to have forgotten about it. And people are just returning back to attacking women. There is absolutely no women's safety in this country. What's going on? And you've seen the American University report ranking India 133 among the list of 167 countries. It is not it doesn't speak very well of our country.
Yes, I agree. And I condemn this incident like everybody else. But here I must say, when we talk about crime against women, it's a result of complex factors, complex interactions between biological and psychological and social factors, psychosocial factors. When we talk about the biology, we must understand that a man is biologically much more powerful and so can overpower a woman easily. But having lived in a civilized society, a man learns to behave like a civilian and like in more acceptable ways. But what happens in a patriarchal society like ours is there is a social script of patriarchy, which is like this, that a woman, no matter, we sometimes dislike this, we do not like to accept it, but it's a fact that gender disparity is still prevalent. We talk about, bringing about equality between the genders, but disparity is there. So, when a boy grows up in a family with a girl, the way the boy is, the boy is, he witnesses a lot of incidents where a man is not being too respectful towards women. So, he grows up with a personality where he does not respect a woman.
All right, I'll come back. These are the opening remarks only. Maini Mohanta, ladka hai, galti ho jata hai. That is what our politicians said. We have got a prominent politician in this country who has said, ladka hai, galti ho jata hai. So, is this patriarchy, is it as simple as that? Or do you think there are much more reasons behind this? Is it a failure of the government? Is it a failure of the society? What do you think?
Yeah, Mulayam Singh Jadav's quote that boys are like boys, right?
Boys will be boys,
yeah.
Galati ho jati hai.
Galti ho jati hai. So, Wasbir, at what point crime rises in a society? Crime rises in a society when the criminals can think that they can easily escape without being punished. And this is the situation here. Palabda already told about the police role. And you see, after Nirbhaya case, the Nirbhaya fund was formed. It's a 100 crores fund. But it is surprisingly 20% of that fund is up till 2018, up to 2018, 20% of the fund is utilized. Other 80%, unutilized. So, what they are doing, our political leaders, our government as a guardian, what they are doing. And second thing, you asked me about patriarchy. Yeah, it's very true that our society is patriarch, and the crime against women has been in our society since ages. I can place an example of Draupadi in Mahabharata. Draupadi was assaulted in our forefathers' age, right? So, it's true that our society is patriarch.
So, I'm coming back to you, Mr. Pallab Bhattacharjee, but Ms. Meena Kharkonger, we are talking about, we are blaming patriarchy. But Meghalaya, you are saying the crime, assault on child abuse in Northeast is much higher. Take the case of Meghalaya. You are a matrilineal society, yet there is assault and there is crime against women even in Meghalaya. So, how do you explain that?
Mr. Wasbir, I would say that it is nothing to do with patriarchy or matrilineal society. Yes, we are a society where we follow we take the title of the mother, or we are supposedly said to be matrilineal. But then if you see in our society, crime against children are rising, and it is our own people, and mostly we have it from our own homes. It is, it comes from the family, it comes from their own blood relations, and this is what, where we really fear from time to time. There is no one to check, there are no records, no research done to study the mindset of a person. So, when we say about crimes, this is nothing to do with patriarchy or matrilineal society.
Right. No,
it is the man himself, So,
right, I'll come back. I'm coming back to you. Please hold your thoughts, Mr. Pallab Bhattacharjee. Can as a police officer who has served a force for almost 4 decades, my question to you is very, very simple. Is it a case of policing yes, we all know that the police mindset needs to change. You yourself said that very, very categorically. Police needs to be sensitized the more. When somebody rings up the police, oh, bhag gaya hoga. How can you sit in judgment saying that a woman, just because somebody is making a distress call, the policeman has no business to assume that that woman has eloped? This is ridiculous, but that is not the point. Point is it only a case of policing? Is it a case of enforcement only? So if that is so, why is it so difficult to enforce the law?
Yes, it is not simply a case of enforcement. Police has a role to play definitely, because they will have to do the investigation and other things, and they will have to complete the investigation within the stipulated period of time, so that trial starts immediately. Actually, that is also another point. And so long as the guilty is not punished,
exemplary punishment is needed.
Exemplary punishment is not given to them, that will create a lot of problem, and it will encourage the criminals. Another point which I want to highlight here is that the government, Ministry of Women and Child Development, they have developed one system called One Stop Center. That was in 2017, under December 2017, and under that, all the stakeholders were supposed to do several things. Actually, every department has its own role to play. Deputy Commissioner is the chairman of the task force which has been constituted. So I personally feel that this one-stop center, which is a very good proposition from the government of India, actually what is its present day, what is the condition of this, what is its implementation, stage of implementation.
We'll have to.
There is one more point, actually, I will just mention it. There is a mention of a one-stop center that I have already told you.
Yeah.
That is very, very important. But in addition to that, there is a concept called C-box. Actually, C-box is another concept which where the online, it is an online portal. Actually, if somebody is harassed in the service, actually, in the workplace, actually she can immediately take help
Mr. Pallabhatshaji, yes, these looks very good. I'm sorry to say that these kind of plans and programs, this kind of talk looks very good on paper, but in reality, when somebody is stalked in the middle of the highway, somebody is just taken away, raped, and then doused in petrol and set ablaze and charged to death, I think at that kind of a situation, when a mobile phone is snatched away, this is basically absolute lack of safety and jungle raj. That is what is the impression of a common man. Yeah, I don't dismiss that there has to be this kind of plans and programs. What you are talking about is already there. But let me take the view of Marbiang. Marbiang, as a young woman, what is your expectation? You are studying at in the national capital in Delhi. But if you are not safe in the national capital, then where are you going to be safe? So this is the question. Now, as a young person, what do you think? Where is safety? We are talking about women's safety, but let us talk about general safety with focus on women. Marbiang.
Yes, first, I think the government should do something about, for example, they can have these helpline. In every state, if we have a helpline which is dedicated for women and which can provide like speedy response, that would really help us a lot. And second thing is the society should change their mindset. They should stop objectifying us, because whenever we walk in the streets in the capital region, we are objectified, especially coming from Northeast and being a woman from Northeast. So we are objectified in every way. So the mindset of the society should change. The government should take measures to provide us safety.
Mr. Pallabhatshaji, you want to say something?
What she has referred to is very important, that
Objectification.
call line. Helpline.
Yeah.
Actually, that is already
But helplines were there, isn't it?
Yeah, that helpline is already there. Actually, what is the stage of implementation in all the states? Actually, that the state government should take very seriously, and we should take advantage of these programs which the government of India has worked out, and there is provision for transfer of fund also for implementing these programs.
Now, Absolutely. Now, Burhan, everybody talks about the mindset to change. My question to all my panelists, starting with Burhan, who is responsible? Who can change the mindset? How will the mindset change? It will not change out of the blue. What do you think? How can the mindset change suddenly?
That's right. It's a continuous process actually, and it will start from our own house, own home. Starting from the point, what I would like to refer to is that if a mother teaches her child that both male and female are equal, and there should not be any distinction among them, and each of their children should refer to each other with respect. That is one step, one good step that can start from their childhood.
Okay, that's a very important point. Equal education, equal facilities, equal. Sangeeta, do you like to add to that? That's, I think,
Sure,
who is responsible for changing the mindset? And as Burhan said, it has to start at home.
I completely agree, because it starts at home, and it's about healthy upbringing practices. Here we talk about equality between the boy and a girl, and when it comes to equality, let us remember that it's not about teaching the boy that respect a woman. It's also about teaching the girl that you must not remain submissive and subdued all the time, and you must not tolerate crimes that happen against you. So it's about both ways, teaching both the genders. And we always have to remember that empowering women doesn't mean that they have to look or act superior to males. They actually have to be at par, and they have to carry out their own roles in a dignified way, holding hands of their partners. It's not about one becoming superior and the other becoming inferior. I would also
that is what is equality all about.
Exactly. But sometimes when we talk about women empowerment, we also get to hear about crimes against men. That's why I mentioned this. Now, coming to the other part, when we talk about policing and, laws and all that, of course, law can act as deterrence. Policing has a huge role to play. But let us look at this entire, when we talk about solutions, there are two strategies, basically. Number one is the, top-up strategy. Top-down strategy, and another one is the bottom-up strategy. So when we talk about a top-down, we have to actually talk about laws and punishment acting as a deterrent. But when it comes to the bottom-up strategy, we have to address all the issues that has led to the problem. One of the panelists has talked about patriarchy not being the only reason. Yes, we agree. There are multiple reasons which interact in very complex ways to lead to crimes. But patriarchy is definitely one of them. And another thing, just Wasbir, this is my personal, what I feel. After the Nirbhaya, we always thought that there is not going to be another incident like this, but we were wrong. And
there has been so many incidents.
So many. And one thing which has always struck me is how come there is an increase in the incidents? Perhaps this has become a challenge.
So these are food for thoughts. Food for thoughts and a huge challenge.
This has become a challenge to
everybody.
A section of the males. They have taken this as a challenge that no matter how empowered women claim to be, we still are superior. Somewhere they're trying to exert this
may be a message, but how to deal with that is the big question.
Yes,
I have to go for a break, but I'll take an opinion from two of the panelists. Miss Meena Kharkongar, tell me, do you have enough funds in the Meghalaya State Child Protection Committee to do what you feel like? To create awareness all around the state, to hold workshops and seminars, to take up cases, to help the child in distress, to look after their education and allow them to stay in child homes as long as possible. I want to understand from you, are you suffering from lack of funds?
Lack of funds, yes, we do have lack of funds, but then, it's not only lack of funds, because we have the policies, we have the laws. We do not need any new laws, but these laws that we have has to be implemented.
Absolutely.
So they have to be implemented.
They have to be implemented. That is a very important point. Before I go a break, Maini Mohanto, you have heard from Ms. Meena Kharkongar. Yes, there is a shortage of funds, but there are other issues. But my point is that point which you raised, 100 crore Nirbhaya fund 1 year after that horrific incident, Nirbhaya fund was created. There was huge announcement in parliament, 100 crore, which for the international media, it was 10 billion rupees. Only 20% has been spent. Now, this was meant to be utilized by the government and the non-government sector to create awareness, advocacy and other issues. Now, why is this fund lying? For what good reason? Maini?
Yeah, that is the irony of Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao. Beti should be safe before they get education.
Exactly.
So, and my friend from Shillong, Meghalaya, she said that patriarchy is not a factor. But again, I say that patriarchy is the #1 factor. I want to place an example. Few years back in Guwahati city, a guy killed his wife, and with that cut head, he went to the thana, to the police station.
Yes.
Then some section of the society, he got sympathy from some section of the society saying that his wife was, characterless. That's why he killed his wife.
Yes, that way they
So
justify violence.
This is
Yes.
patriarchy. Yeah.
So, okay,
patriarchy
we
is-
cannot justify violence irrespective of what kind of argument you put forward. On that note, I go for a short break. Don't go away. I'll be right back after this very short commercial. Welcome back, Mr. Pallab Bhattacharjee. This is the report. This is the report of the National National Crime Records Bureau 2017. It says Assam has the highest number of cases of crime against women in Northeast India for the year 2017. Out of 25,737 crime cases against women in Northeast, Assam accounts for 23,000 plus, which is 89.7%, followed by Meghalaya with 567, 0.2%. And then, of course, there are other states. Arunachal Pradesh is also pretty high. Tripura is also pretty high. So, what is going on? 89, that means 90% of the cases in the entire Northeast is Assam. Now, what are some of the reasons? What's going on?
Actually, what I personally feel that this rise in crime in Assam, there is one factor. Actually, here more or less, if somebody comes for registration of a case, the case is registered. Actually, we are very particular about that in Assam Police when I was there. Actually, even now also. But the important thing is actually these incidents while these are taking place, actually we should take some preventive actions also. To stop crime, I personally feel that some awareness programs should be taken up in the schools also. As one panelist has told that it should start from the family, that is the first point. And secondly, in the schools also we can take up certain programs. Programs in the sense that actually how these things happen, all those things, and even how to how to make yourself strong by combining with the Fit India program which is being taken up.
Okay.
Actually, we should also train the young girls in the schools. That can also be done actually in a positive manner.
That will be debatable, Mr. Pallab Bhattacharjee. I have to say that will be debatable. You are suggesting that women should be taught self-defense, but self-defense, but self-defense, why? Knowing how to protect yourself is necessary. Maybe you would like to protect yourself from a robber or a thief or a dacoit. But how will you on earth know that there is a predator lurking around, that you cannot drive at night, you cannot travel at night, you cannot cycle at night, or you cannot walk at night? So this is a very, very difficult situation. Miss Meena Kharkongar, Mr. Pallab Bhattacharjee said that the number of cases are maximum crime against women cases in Assam because the police actually are sensitive enough to register those cases. So this gives an impression, that's an indication that in other states, in the northeastern region, the police may not be actually registering cases, or the victims also may not be coming forward to register cases or approach the authorities. What has been your experience?
It's not only the question of registering the cases, Mr. Wasbir, but the investigation should be carried out properly.
No, but first of all, you have to register the case. First of all,
when we see.
No, but yes, I agree.
Yeah,
I agree. I fully agree. But
then,
first of all, you have to register the case. If the case is not registered, we cannot blame the police.
Yes. No. That is not the case. Mr. Wasbir, now with the new amendment, criminal amendment of 2013, it says even the police can suo motu take up cases.
But they
I
don't.
don't understand why the police always shy from taking this up. You know, so they can themselves take up suo moto if no one comes forward also. Investigation has to be carried out in a fair and, you know, transparent manner without having any bias, without any favor to anyone. It may be from a village, it may be from a town. Every victim has to be treated equally. You know, witnesses should be examined in a proper manner.
Right.
Most of the time we see, you know, that the witnesses are not properly interrogated. The cases are not charge sheeted properly. They are just sent up to court for trial, and then when it reaches the court, what happens is, due to lack of evidence,
Absolutely.
due to the,
Absolutely.
you know, there
Absolutely.
are so many factors
I'm-
which leads to
right.
acquittal.
Absolutely. I'm coming to you, Burhan, but Ms. Marbiang, you know, what do you think? Is it easy for a young girl or a young woman to go to a police station and lodge a complaint? It is not always, it is not a case of molestation or rape. For any issue, what has been your experience? Is it easy, or how difficult or easy is it for a woman or a young woman to go to visit a police station?
See, working with the union for these many years, I've had my experience where we used to guide victims, especially rape victims. Most of the time, they would hesitate to even lodge a complaint because they fear the shame that may come from the society, because they fear the shame that they will get from the society, so they are reluctant to even file a complaint. And most of the cases, especially in rural areas, they go unreported because of that.
Absolutely. Burhan?
And furthermore, even if they do lodge a complaint,
They do lodge a complaint.
Yeah, carry on.
the
carry on.
judiciary also, you know, the judiciary also like character assassinate them in so many ways,
Yeah,
saying
was
that
it
she
true?
is
Was it, can I add
characterless
up?
or something. So that fear stops them,
The fear factor.
stops them from going
the fear
forward.
factor of being
Yeah.
to lodge a
stigmatized.
complaint.
No, I just want
Yes.
to add one point. Forget about the fear. What happened when a young girl go to the police station for lodging an FIR? You know, last year, 2 years back, one of my friend's daughters, she was molested in Nobin Nagar area in Guwahati. Straightway she went to the nearby police station to lodge an FIR. Then that police officer present in the police station asked her, she explained that she was molested. Then the police officer asked her, did they take away your mobile phone? No. Did they take away your wallet? No. Did they take any watch or like jewelry? No. Oh, then it's a silly thing. It's a small matter.
So it doesn't come under definition
this
of
is the mindset of
molestation.
police.
So,
With due apology to Pallabya.
Mr. Pallabhacharji, you know, yes, this particular case which Ms. Maini Mohanto is talking about, Nobin Nagar case, this was widely reported in the media around that time. Now my question is, let's with that as the backdrop, with that case as the background, why does this kind of things happen? Now, does the police have a proper training module, or does the police have actually time? Does the police personnel have time, to undergo such kind of training and workshops?
Yes, training is very important.
But do we have the time? Does the policeman have the time to do that?
Actually, the problem is, if you see the number of police persons available per 1 lakh of population, if you take the...
What is the normal acceptable level? 1 lakh?
In 1 lakh, actually, it should be quite high actually. In Assam, it is quite low actually. I have not the figure right now. But it is less than the national average actually. That is what I want to say. And United Nations have also fixed certain number, and Assam's number is much lower than that. It is because of this actually.
Shortage of manpower.
Shortage of manpower, and that is why everybody will have to be used for investigation, and that is why there is hardly any time for training. So this training reserve actually, we usually used to have some training reserve. There should be continuous training of these police personnel. They will
which
have to be
which unfortunately does not happen.
Doesn't happen. Now, one more point I just want to highlight, that 30% of the police force should be women. Actually, basically, particularly women-related cases, this women population, women police personnel is very important. That is not there actually.
That is not happening. Now, Burhan, we have to, actually there should be clear-cut the division between the two wings of the police, investigation and law enforcement. But in Assam, or for that matter, in most parts of the country, this is not the case. As Mr. Pallabhatraji has said, there is shortage of manpower. So where is the time for people to go for training? There are VVIP visits. There are hundreds of people who have to be provided security, so on and so forth. So there is no distinction between investigation and law enforcement. The same officer has to do all kinds of duties, from VIP duty to investigation to law enforcement. So the quality of investigation is extremely poor. That is the reason why the rate of conviction is also poor.
That's right. That's right. Few years back, you must have heard about this Arushi Talwar case. Exactly that thing happened, that at the very first point of, at that moment, the police, when they reached on that particular incident's place, then they did not do the investigation properly. And the end result, there are lots of confusions. Although the judgment has come, but there are lots of confusion, ifs and buts are there. Now this case is, of course, it is pending before the Honorable Supreme Court. Now what I would like to emphasize at this point of time is that, of course, training is very essential. It's a continuous process that has to be done, and on paper, on record, they may say anything. There are enough laws in our country now. After that infamous Mathura case which happened in 1972, laws are amended n number of times. Recently, after Nirbhaya case, again CRPC was amended. Although there are enough teeth, the issue or the problem is about the implementation. Implementation is not done. Of course, manpower crunch is there. Poor investigation led to poor conviction, and end of it,
and therefore
we are at the
exemplary punishment is not there,
and that is only possible. That is only possible if the investigation agencies do their task properly in a scientific manner. Because
absolutely, investigation, not just investigation, it has to be a foolproof, scientific, done in a scientific manner. Now, Sangeeta Datta, do you think one of the reasons we discussed how can you change the mindset? Then some of the panelists, including Burhan, said that it should start at home. My question is, don't you think that from the school level, the curriculum itself, as part of your education policy, this gender equality should be taught to the children?
Exactly. I mean, it starts at home and also at school. Because I remember as children, we had a subject called moral science. And today I think we need a specific subject which talks about value education, because there is degradation of values. Especially the other panelist, the lady from our friend from Shillong, she mentioned that patriarchy is not an issue. Here I would like to actually address the issues which happens in a matrilineal society also. It's about degradation of values. It's about increased use of intoxicating substances. If you actually take note of this, a lot of crimes happen when the perpetrator is intoxicated. So that is another point, we increasingly use it. The third is, usually the perpetrator comes from very socially backward or educationally backward kind of people. They are more prone to become perpetrators and commit crimes. So therefore, we have to provide value education to children at school, at home.
This should be part. It should be part of the
curriculum. I would like to mention this again, that having proper punishment, giving proper punishment, exemplary punishment, punishment as a deterrent, that definitely is important, but it does not solve the problem. Only changing mindsets will solve the problem in the long run.
Are you in favor of such kind of a course as part of the curriculum in schools and even colleges? Do you think it should continue?
Yeah, it should be there. Subject to to educate, like what Sangeeta said.
How many Nirvayas are we waiting for? How many Nirvayas do we need for the government and the authorities to come up with a holistic approach to deal with this menace?
One important thing is that what Sangeeta said, that these criminals, most of these criminals comes from the socially backward classes. I don't agree with that, because it seems like that, because exemplary punishment who gets in India, if you see last 2-3 decades in India, who got the capital punishment for rape and murder? One is auto driver from South India, Otto Shankar, and another is Dhananjay from West Bengal. Because they are from poor background, they don't have money to
we don't take patriarchy into account. I was talking about the other, our panelist was talking about, if you don't talk about patriarchy, in general also, there is value degradation, there is increased crime rates. So, a lot of people who actually commit crimes, a section of them could be perverted, could be sociopaths, and some of them are socially and economically deprived too. That's my point. I mean,
Meena Kharkonkar, do you agree that we have to deal with this issue at from various multiple pronged attack to deal with this menace. Do you think curriculum having some kind of a gender equality course or gender sensitization course in the school level and the college level will help? What is your view?
Yes, I would agree with the other panelists also. Like, we have to bring in more value education to our children in schools. And then, we also have to teach them, Mr. Wasbir, if you will agree with me, the social media has become an evil now in our society. If you see now, the videos that are being spread on social media, there are no sensitivity to it. And, the law enforcement agencies are, I don't know how they are working with it, because, we do not have any convictions on these cases.
Now,
so, people do whatever they feel like. So, that fear should be there.
Yes, carry on.
Hello?
Let her, you finish.
And
finish
like
your point.
the other police officer, I think the other ex-police officer who had said about manpower, this is a problem even in our state, Mr. Wasbir. We do not have women officers, and from time to time, we are speaking about it. We need women police officers who are sensitive to women issue, to children's issue.
Right.
And
Right.
this is,
Sangeeta, you are making
this is lacking even in our state.
Right.
Is about the social media. In fact, I get to see a lot of clients, adolescents and young adults who are addicted to the internet these days. They play a lot of violent and aggressive video games, and it has been seen both through research studies as well, in our clinic, it has been seen that they are more prone to show violence and aggression and commit crimes. So, these kind of modern social problems.
Modern social problems. Miss Marbiang, you talked that, you said a little while ago that, women should not be objectified. My question is, to what extent do you blame the entertainment industry, particularly Bollywood? Bollywood has a particular tendency to deal when it is portrays women. Women are generally, I'm not generalizing, there are some very sensitive films, but there are films as well which objectify women, which deals with women's issues in a very, very stereotypical manner.
The commercial ones, mostly.
Yes, I was about to get to that point only. Like, almost every Bollywood movie we see these days, they have this item number where, the female actress is, like, the lyrics of those item songs are mostly lyrics that objectify us and that degrade us as women in various ways, and illiterate people of a society, by saying that, they think that it's okay to do that. It's okay to call us names and all, because they feel like they will be like the heroes in those movies. As it is, film industries has a great influence on public. So film industries, instead of making songs that objectify us, item numbers that objectify women, they should make more films that put women as role models.
Right.
Or that would teach something
very
that would be
important
useful
point you
to
are
the
making.
society.
I'm just coming to you, Mr. Pallab Bhattacharjee, but Dr. Sangeeta Datta, as a psychologist, as a psychiatrist, do you think this kind of objectification, this kind of portrayal which Marbiang called about item numbers, generally gyrating to some funny
relevant.
lyrics, objectionable lyrics.
Yes.
Do you think that has a lasting impact?
It does.
Does it impact certain people?
It does. It does impact the youngsters. It impacts almost every person from various ages, because what is being shown through films, what we watch on television, in serials, etc. There's repeated objectification of women, and she has talked very aptly about the item numbers, the lyrics there, and it gradually changes the mindset of people, because they think this is normal. What is normal and what is abnormal is, again, it is relative.
So the line gets blurred.
When
you see these kind of things, the line gets blurred.
It gets blurred, and it's people start thinking, a section of people start thinking that it's okay to objectify women, it's okay to degrade them, because it is rampant.
I'm running short of time. Mr. Pallab Bhattacharjee, therefore, if you take all these things into consideration, the question of enforcement becomes all the more difficult.
Yes, that is true.
Because we have the censor board, but we just can't do anything about it. So I'm talking about general, we are not talking only about films, I'm just asking you a general question about enforcement.
Nowadays, actually, you see almost every child has got a mobile of his own, and in a mobile he can see anything like that.
Yes,
actually, there you can see so many things actually, and that creates a propensity to commit such crimes. Actually, this is a very important point, and that is why there should be some sort of guidance from the guardians, actually, basically parents, and even the schools also, use of mobile phones.
Use of mobile phones. Yeah.
Secondly, so far as the social media thing is concerned, actually, we have got a branch in Assam Police that is called Cyberdome project, actually, where we can monitor the social media posts, and if we get some information from that something is happening. In fact, Assam Police is doing very good job in this respect.
We must say that Assam Police Cyber Cell is doing a great job. And got recognition also from a number of leading.
Exactly, yes. So that is why they are also on the job, and I think if it is properly strengthened, actually, we can get to reduce such crimes. But most important point is training, actually, which you have told. Regular training of the police officers, their sensitization in soft skills, so that if somebody comes to lodge an FIR, she should be treated properly. All those issues are there.
Absolutely. Actually. Now, coming to you, Burhan, Mr. Pallab Bhattacharjee talks about the easy availability, easy access to the mobile phone or the smartphone. Question is, when we are talking about enforcement, why is it so difficult to clamp a ban from the service providers on pornography sites? That is a simple question.
So that, of course, in our few months back, you must be remembering that there is an initiative on this, that all the pornographic sites are to be banned, and in fact, the government is working on this. So, central government I'm talking about, they're working on this proposition, and there, in fact, there is a PIL also, I guess it's pending before the Honorable Supreme Court on this issue. So that aspect is there, but what I would like to say is regarding the prevention of the crimes in the broader sense is that it has to be a holistic issue, because it has to be holistic in nature. Otherwise, if you compartmentalize it, then it will create problem. Everything is to be done in a very coordinated manner.
Absolutely.
For example, the cyber police has to work in coordination with the other wings of the police, so that they should swing into action immediately if there is any report.
So, holistic approach necessary. I'm running short of time. Mani Monta, your final comments.
Wasbir, I think the major role should be played by our government, In a country like India, where we worship Durga, Kali, Lakshmi, but women are always, become victim. And second is the police, role of police is very unfortunate. Justice Ruma Paul said that in India, police sometimes treat victims as criminal. So police should be, sensitized, as Pallabda said. And Pallabda, another
thing. So police sensitization should be an all India campaign, all India initiative by the government.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Meena Kharkongar, your final comments. I'm running absolutely short of time, very quickly.
According to me, I think, we should all work in coordination. The investigation should be apt, then the judiciary, the prosecution, and most important is we should not be bystanders in society.
Absolutely.
Most of the time, when we see something happening to others, we look away. So we stand up and fight together, and then I think we can gain the confidence of the people.
We cannot be mute spectators. Marbiang, final comments, very quickly, 10 seconds.
According to me, legislation should be enforced, because what is the point of having laws that protects women when the system is very restrictive and inhibiting?
Absolutely. Enforcement is the key. Last words to you, Dr. Sangeeta Datta.
Change mindsets and punish the criminals, briefly.
Absolutely. Change mindsets, punish the criminals, and come up with a holistic approach to deal with this menace, so that we can make the women in our country safe. On that note, I thank all my panelists for participating in this very, very engaging discussion. With this, I end this edition of Notice Tonight. Good night and goodbye.
Northeast Tonight, brought to you by Oil India Limited, conquering newer horizons.